Good morning. Today my topic will be infectious diseases. I'm Dr. Sheena Alphonse, Assistant Professor, Department Pathology of Sri Lakshmi Narayana Institute Medical College, Puducherry. So the few infectious diseases I'm covering are syphilis, malaria, leishmania and filariasis. So coming to syphilis, the causative organism is Treponema pallidum, and it's important to know the stages of syphilis and its mode of spread, which include primary, secondary and tertiary. Mode of spread includes sexual intercourse, transplacental transmission, that is congenital syphilis, blood transfusion, intimate contact, wherein lesions on the lips and tongues through which it is contracted. So the stages are primary, secondary and tertiary. What is the pathology behind it? So you can see a chancre, palmar rash, lymphadenopathy, condyloma latum, and there are even further systemic pathological aspects. In congenital, you have complications such as late abortion or stillbirth, infantile complications, childhood complications. So, what is primary syphilis? It occurs approximately 3 weeks after contact with the infected person. What is a chancre? It is a firm, non tender erythematous lesion at the site of treponemal invasion. These are spirochetes which are plentiful, and it is demonstrated by dark field microscopy, immunofluorescence stains in the serous exudate. Serology may be negative. So this is a picture on a penile shaft. There is a chancre of the primary syphilis. So the morphology is, you can see it is slightly elevated, firm, reddish papule, can vary in size, and it erodes to create a clean based shallow ulcer. There is contiguous induration which creates a button like mass directly adjacent to the eroded skin. This is known as a hard chancre. On histology, we see the spirochetes visible at the surface of the ulcer, which is demonstrated with silver stains and immunofluorescence. Intense infiltrate of plasma cells, lymphocytes, and there is proliferative endarteritis. So here you can see this is a histology of skin. There is ulceration, sloughing, and there is lot of infiltrate of plasma cells, lymphocytes, and also you can see they are all surrounding these blood vessels. So there is proliferative endarteritis and infiltrative rich consisting of plasma cells. So this is a Wathen-Starry silver stain. You can see thread-like darkish structures. These are spirochetes. And what about secondary syphilis? They occur 2 to 10 weeks after the primary chancre. It is due to the spread and proliferation of spirochetes within the skin and mucocutaneous tissue and lymphatics. This is a highly infective stage. The skin lesions are maculopapular, scaly, or pustular and frequently occur on the palm and the soles. Condyloma lata is broad-based elevated plaques that are found in the anorectal region. Also, there are silver grey superficial erosions that are seen in the mouth, pharynx, and external genitalia. Clinical features include lymphadenopathy, patient has mild fever, malaise, and weight loss. Symptoms last for several weeks, after which the patient will enter the latent phase of the disease. So the morphology here will be rash, which are discrete red-brown macules less than 5 mm in diameter, red lesions in the mouth of vagina, and histologically it is similar to primary chancre, but the inflammation is less intense. So this picture shows the palmar lesions in secondary syphilis. This is picture depicting condyloma lata in the secondary syphilis stage. What about tertiary syphilis? It occurs in untreated patients usually after a latent period of 5 years or more, and they manifest as cardiovascular, neural, or benign tertiary syphilis. So, what are the complications? The complications include a syphilitic aortitis, that is inflammation. There is also dilatation of the aortic root and arch, aortic valve insufficiency, and aneurysm of the proximal aorta. Aortitis is caused by the end arteritis of the vasa vasorum of the proximal aorta. So, occlusion leads to the scarring of the media of the proximal aorta wall, and there is loss of elasticity. Narrowing of the coronary artery ostia caused by subintimal scarring with resulting myocardial infarction. So the aortitis can be clinically seen as tree bark appearance. What is neurosyphilis? It consists of chronic meningovascular disease, tabes dorsalis, and generalized brain parenchymal disease, that is general paresis of the insane. What is benign tertiary syphilis? They consist of gammas. These are nothing but nodular lesions, that is due to delayed hypersensitivity reaction to the bacteria. Sites include bone, skin, mouth, upper respiratory tract, liver, lungs. So gross will be localized rubbery lesion with area of central necrosis. Histology shows coagulative necrosis with palisading macrophages, lymphocytes, plasma cells, and fibroblasts. What is congenital syphilis? Congenital syphilis at the time of birth. This can lead to late abortion or stillbirth. Infantile, if the child reaches to the infant stage, he will develop rash, osteochondritis, periostitis, liver and lung fibrosis. In childhood, interstitial keratitis, Hutchinson teeth, eighth nerve deafness. Ocular changes include choroiditis, abnormal retinal pigmentation, Hutchinson teeth, small which are small incisors shaped like screwdriver or a peg with notch in the enamel. This is a picture depicting the Hutchinson teeth. The serological tests for syphilis are the non-treponemal antibodies tests. They measure the antibody to cardiolipin phospholipid both in the host and the spirochete. These include rapid plasma reagent and VDRL tests. They generally are positive 4 to 6 weeks after the infection. They are always positive in secondary syphilis and usually become negative in tertiary syphilis. They are used as screening test and to monitor response to therapy. To note that false positive tests can occur in SLE, drug addiction, pregnancy, and hypergammaglobulinemia. Anti-treponema antibody measures the antibody that is specifically react with Treponema pallidum. There is the fluorescein method and the microhemagglutinin assay method. So these are positive 4 to 6 weeks after the infection and remain positive indefinitely even after successful treatment. Next we will see few points on malaria caused by Plasmodium. Species include Falciparum, Vivax, ovale, and malaria. It is transmitted by the female Anopheles mosquito. This three species, Vivax, ovale, and malaria, can cause low levels of parasitemia with mild anemia. Falciparum, to note, it causes high level of parasitemia with severe anemia, cerebral symptoms, renal failure, pulmonary edema, and death. So, how does malaria spread? So, from the bite of the female of an Anopheles mosquito, there is release of there occurs the primary erythrocytic cycle, and they lead to the formation of merozoites. They later mature to form the ring forms, trophozoite, schizon stage, and which lead to merozoites entering the sexual cycle, where they form immature gametocytes. They are then transmitted further to the mosquito via the bite, and wherein they form the zygote within body of the stomach wall of the mosquito. It forms the oocyst. The oocyst ruptures and the sporozoites enter the salivary gland of the mosquito, which then continues the cycle into the humans. So, falciparum causes more severe disease than other species. How is it possible? It is able to infect the RBCs at any stage, leading to a high burden of the parasite and profound anemia. It causes infective red cells to clump together and to stick to the endothelial cells lining the small blood vessels which block the blood flow. It also stimulates the production of high levels of cytokines like tumor necrosis factor, interferon alpha, and interleukin 1. So, what is the pathogenesis? Fever is caused by the rupture of scissions and release of cytokines like TNF alpha, interleukin 1 from macrophages. Anemia is generally normocytic normochromic. It is due to the repeated hemolysis, hypersplenism, autoimmune lysis of coated infected and uninfected RBCs, increased fragility of RBCs, bone marrow suppression. Also, splenomegaly is because of splenic congestion and the hyperplasia of the reticuloendothelial system. So, immunity. What provides a natural immunity or a protection to malaria? One is glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency enzyme. This is essential for the metabolism. So, if there is a deficiency of G6PD, this can give a natural protection. Absence of Duffy blood group. Duffy blood group acts as a receptor of the malarial parasite. Sickle cell trait. Sickling of the infected RBCs lead to the clearing of those cells by the reticuloendothelial cells in the spleen. Infants are relatively immune to malarial infections because of the large percentage of hemoglobin F and maternal antibodies. Alpha thalassemia, more frequent malaria is vivax and falciparum in early life, protects against the severe disease. So how about the diagnosis? One that still remains the gold standard is the peripheral blood smear examination. Stain that we use is GMSA, pH 7.2. Other stains include Leishman and field stain. The smears can be a thick or thin. Thick is for the quick detection of the parasite in a low level of parasitemia. Thin film is used for the identification of the species. What is the picture of the RBCs? They can be normocytic, microcytic, or hemolytic blood picture. WBC monocytosis can be seen. Platelets will be normal or decreased. Hemoparasites will be seen. So based on the amount of parasites is given as written as 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 or 4 plus. 1 plus wherein you see 1 to 10 parasites per 100 fields. Plus 2 is 11 to 100 parasites in 100 fields. Plus 3 is 1 to 10 parasites per field. And 4 plus is more than 10 parasites per field. So the various stages of the development of Plasmodium vivax. You can see the ring stage. Intravascular and extravascular hemolysis of the infected RBCs can occur in falciparum. Here you can see the ring shape and the gametocyte found in falciparum. Pathological changes in other organs include characteristic slay grade or black color. The cells of the reticuloendothelial cells show hyperplasia and proliferation of macrophages. In acute malaria, spleen can be enlarged up to 1 kg with congested capillaries that contain parasites in the RBC. Chronically, the spleen will be fibrotic and brittle. Gross will appear like an egg cake appearance. The capsule will be thickened. Trabeculae is fibrous and thickened. Parenchyma appears grey-black. This is because of the hemozoin pigment, and there will be increased number of macrophages. So you can see there is capillary sludging with RBCs infected with the malarial parasite. CNS, they can be microhemorrhages or ring granulomas, as they say. Newer techniques of diagnosis include fluorescent microscopy, wherein the RBC containing the malarial parasite examined by the fluorescent microscope after staining with the acridine orange. Quantitative Buffy coat QBC is also another method of diagnosis. Antigen testing for Plasmodium falciparum, parasite F, ELISA based dipstick test, immunochromatographic method, and PCR. Coming to Leishmania or Kala Azar, it is a chronic inflammatory disease of the skin, mucous membrane, and viscera. It is caused by an intracellular kinetoplast containing protozoan parasite Leishmania species. It is transmitted through the bite of the infected sandfly. It is endemic to Middle East, South Asia, Africa, and Latin America. It is epidemic in Sudan, India, Bangladesh, and Brazil. So pathogenesis, the life cycle involves two forms. Promastigote that develops and lives extracellularly in the sandfly vector, and the amastigote that multiply intracellularly in the host macrophages. The reservoirs of Leishmania include rodents, dogs, foxes. They manipulate the innate host defenses to facilitate their entry and survival in host macrophages. So this is the stages in sandfly and the human stages. The sandfly will inject the promastigote into the skin during the infective stage. They are phagocytosed by the neutrophil, and then they will be released, wherein they will be consumed by the macrophages. By then the promastigote transform into the amastigote, which can be diagnosed. They multiply, and then the sandfly will again ingest the infected macrophages when he takes the blood meal. So the virulence, why promastigotes can stay without any attack, is because of the lipophosphogycan. They activate the complement and inhibit the complement action. Thus, they get coated with complement C3b but avoid the destruction by membrane attack complex. Also, GP63, that is a zinc dependent proteinase, cleaves complement and some lysosomal antimicrobial enzymes. This enzyme binds to fibronectin receptors on the macrophages and promotes the promastigote adhesion to macrophages. So these are the factors for the virulence. So clinically, what are the types that we are going to see? Visceral, cutaneous, mucocutaneous, and diffuse cutaneous. So visceral leishmaniasis, they invade the macrophages throughout the mononuclear phagocyte system. Clinically, this is seen as hepatosplenomegaly, lymphadenopathy, pancytopenia, fever, and weight loss. The spleen phagocytoses the cells, enlarge and fill with leishmania. Many plasma cells can be seen. The late stage, the liver appears fibrotic. Phagocytotic cells, the bone marrow, lung, GI, kidneys, pancreas, and testes. There is hyperpigmentation of the skin, and this is why it's called as Kala Azar. Kidney, the damage can be because of immune complex mediated and it can lead to mesangial-proliferative glomerulonephritis. The picture showing massive splenomegaly. This is the bone marrow picture wherein you can see histiocyte containing many Leishmania organisms, characteristic dot and dash appearance of Leishmania donovani. So cutaneous can be a mild localized, consists of ulcer on the exposed skin and heals by involution by 6 to 8 months without treatment. So what do we see on microscopy is granulomatous lesion with many giant cells and few parasites. Mucocutaneous leishmaniasis develop in the nasopharyngeal areas. Microscopically, you're going to see parasite filled in macrophages, also lymphocytes and plasma cells. Later, the granulomatous response declines and eventually lead to scarring. Reactivation may occur after a long interval. Diffuse cutaneous leishmania is a rare form of dermal infection, begins as a single nodule until the body is covered with nodular lesions. Here you will see aggregates of foamy macrophages which are stuffed with leishmania. Coming to the next and last organism, filariasis. It's caused by Wuchereria bancrofti and Brugia species. It's transmitted by mosquitoes and causes a spectrum of diseases. Either it can be asymptomatic, recurrent lymphadenitis, chronic lymphadenitis with skin changes like the elephantiasis, and lastly tropical pulmonary eosinophilia. So the pathogenesis is that the infective larva released by the mosquito into the tissue during a blood meal develop within the lymphatic channels into the adult male and the adult female, which mate and release microfilaria that enter the bloodstream. When the mosquito bites the infected individual, it takes up this microfilaria and transmits the disease. So this is the picture depicting what I just said. Filarial molecules that enable the organism to evade or inhibit immune response include surface glycoproteins which have an antioxidant function, homologs of cystatin cysteine protease. They inhibit the MHC class II antigen processing pathway, thereby it is not recognized. Serpins or serine protease inhibitors inhibit the neutrophil proteases. Then homologs of transforming growth factor beta bind to mammalian TGF beta and downregulate the inflammatory process. So this is the virulence factors. In chronic lymphatic filariasis, damage to the lymphatics is caused by the adult parasite and by a Th1 mediated immune response that forms granulomas around the adult parasite. In tropical pulmonary eosinophilia, IgE mediated hypersensitivity to microfilaria occurs. So here the IgE and eosinophils are stimulated by interleukin 4, 5 which are secreted by the filaria. Morphology. Persistent lymphedema of the extremities, scrotum, penis or vulva occurs in the patient. There is hydrocele and lymph node enlargement. Elephantiasis is a condition caused by this organism wherein there is chylous weeping of the enlarged scrotum and chronically swollen leg with tough subcutaneous fibrosis and epithelial hyperkeratosis. The elephantoid skin shows dilatation of dermal lymphatics, lymphocytic infiltrate and focal cholesterol deposits. Adult filarial worms are present in the draining lymphatics and node and is surrounded by some inflammation, intense eosinophilia, hemorrhage and fibrin and granulomas. This is the picture of a clinical photo of a patient with Elephantiasis. What is tropical pulmonary eosinophilia? There is this lung involvement by filaria where there is marked eosinophilia and there is Meyer's Cuvinar bodies. They are nothing but dead microfilaria surrounded by stellate hyaline eosinophilic precipitates embedded in small epithelioid granulomas. Thank you for your kind attention.